Good evening, everyone, and welcome. It is day number 616 in the war in Ukraine, and as I calculate it, about day number 25 there in Israel. And tonight we're going to be focused on Israel. We have a special guest, completely live interview. This is quite a privilege. Tonight we're going to be speaking with, and I'm working on saying this name right, Khoury. Khoury. You got to have that Khoury. And going to be unbelievable, a lot of the things that you're going to hear. And I'm not going to steal any of his thunder because some of this is going to be very surprising for you. Now, more on that in just a minute, and I'll roll him in. I know most people here always supporting from our work or supporting our work in Ukraine. And I do want you to know tonight we'll be back Friday night, normal, full updates on Ukraine. And then towards the end, we see the connection between Israel and Ukraine and what's going on. All of that will continue as normal. But tonight I want to dedicate all of the time for Khader and let him just talk. And you can feel free to chat. You can feel free to ask questions. We've got good moderators in here. I'm seeing everything. And especially when Khader's talking, I'm able to really look at the chat and see what's going on there. It's November the 1st, 2023. As far as Ukraine is, overall, relatively quiet. In fact, I can show you this air raid alert, as we always look at when we get going, is quiet. Major issues in Ukraine today were infrastructure strikes in 3 cities, Kremenchuk, Dnipro, and Kherson. And additionally, the border issues continue there with Poland. So by Friday, November the 3rd, we're going to have the latest on that. So thank you for being here. And with all of that said, want to welcome you guys, or welcome Khoury to you guys tonight. And thank you for being here. Let me do this and let me do that. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning.
It's nice to see you, brother. You and I, so it's 3 o'clock in the morning there in Israel.
Yeah.
So thank you for getting up early in the morning. And I was up early this morning with you. We were working on the content and making sure we were comfortable and prepping. And then now it's your turn to be up early. So thank you for doing that. We appreciate it. And let's just get going here. I'm going to give you background on Khoury. Let me just say hello to everybody. There's people in from all over the country and all over the world. And I just don't want to take any of Khader's time tonight. It's 3 o'clock in the morning there, and we'll get going. So if questions come in like this one, any background on Khoury? Yes, going to give you background that's going to blow you away. Now, I'm going to put a disclaimer here before we get going. This stream is going to be different, typically doing a lot of technical analysis, doing a lot of interactive communication, analyzing what's happening in Ukraine, analyzing the connection between Israel and Ukraine, or Putin and Iran and all of that. We're always doing that. But tonight, you're going to hear from a Palestinian who was born in Gaza, who now lives in the West Bank and is a Christian pastor in Bethlehem. And he's going to talk about everything. So guys, this is quite a privilege. So Khader, let's start with that. So you are in Bethlehem. So tell us about your background and, you're born, where you're born, your movement through life to Bethlehem and your family.
Thank you, Greg. Good night in your time and good morning in my time. This is Khader Khoury. I am Gaza. I came to the Lord in Gaza. I accepted the Lord and my life changed and became minister for the Lord there. I was assistant pastor in Gaza Baptist Church, and I moved out of Gaza because persecution. There's kind of one of my friend disciple, he was kidnapped and killed. So I moved out of Gaza, started in Bethlehem, and I ordained as a pastor in 2008 for IBSC Church. And since that time, I'm serving in West Bank, in Bethlehem, and having community center, having kindergarten, more than 100 family every day coming to the community center. So my heart is to be part of the community and to show Jesus' love and peace to the others.
Thank you. So when you were in Gaza, you experienced persecution and you actually lost a friend. He was killed.
Yeah.
And it was an assisting factor in you leaving Gaza. So practically speaking, can you explain to everybody tonight in a very simple term, the West Bank where you live? So listen, people, we think we understand, okay? But tonight, different stream. Explain to us, and we're going to talk about Gaza later. We're going to talk about Hamas. We're going to talk about everything, but explain the West Bank and how it's connected to Israel and the Palestinian state. Can you explain that simply for everyone to understand?
Yeah. Actually, West Bank, part of Bethlehem and Ramallah, Nablus in the south, and Jenin and the whole country, they are like separated from Israel by wall, and most people work in Israel, so we connected a lot. Bethlehem and West Bank lay in tourism, all of the economy coming through tourism. So when the time that having problems in the area in Israel or even in West Bank, it affected the country, affected the people. Like this.
So, you know, you're leading me to another place we were going to talk about, but right now is the right time to do it because I'm going to follow your lead as well and try to stay out of your way. But you live in Bethlehem. The population of Bethlehem is approximately how many?
Bethlehem area population about 250,000 people.
Okay, 250,000 people.
Yeah.
And tourism is the number one trade industry.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. With the tourists that are coming to visit Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus, from around the world.
Yes.
Okay. So
about 1 million and a half every year come and visit the area.
1 million to 1.5 million visit the area every year. So the one of the impacts that this war is going to have is we're going to talk about the effects in Gaza with people in a little while, but for the West Bank, for Bethlehem, for Israel, for tourism, you're losing a lot of money from tourists. The economy is going to take a hit.
Yeah. We get people that they are working in restaurants, in hotels, in workshops. They have no work. They have no money. And the time that there is war and there is a problem. So most of the time, trying to be peaceful country, trying to be having not more problems because people lay here a lot in tourism.
Okay, understood. So, you know, I'm drawing a lot of similar parallels that you and I were discussing this morning, the work I do in Ukraine, and I'll be heading back there in December. A lot of experience there, and the economic impact, for example, you know, it's just very similar. There's lots of similarities between Ukraine and Israel, and we're not really going to focus on that tonight. We're focusing on you, but there just are. Now, I'm going to take you in a direction now that may surprise people, and I've got your words written down here from this morning. Okay, so I'm going to drop the statement. and then you let it rip. You said to me this morning, you know, the world and people, Christians, non-Christians, Muslims, the world, everybody needs to understand like Palestine, the history of Palestine. It's not really all about politics. You stated in that same phrase that many people are frozen right now, and that the interesting thing is many Palestinians have Jewish bloodlines. So enlighten us.
Okay.
Enlighten us.
Okay. Okay. You need to know that Palestine, called Palestine in 300 after Christ, from Roman leader, and Palestine means the fruitful land. Most Palestinian, they are gathering from different kind of people. They are most Europe and Jewish and from Saudi Arabia. We have more like in the time when Islam came, many converted Islam and they are Jewish bloodline. So, for example, Gaza was a city of churches. Every place you dig, you see mosaic, because Gaza has a great history of when the Lord changed Gaza to be Christian, and the Lord was doing amazing thing among those people. So many times the problem that people connect Palestine or Palestinian with the Philistines in the Old Testament, and look at now we are from Gilead descendant, and these people, the bad people, they should need to be wiped out, and this is totally not right, because in the, like most Hebron, yesterday I was reading about the families, many families, Arab families and Palestinian families. They are Jewish bloodline, and they are Muslim, and they are Palestinian, and we don't like the situation is mixed actually. Like you have different kind of people. My family line, my mom of line came from Greece. My father original from Gaza. My family name Khoury. Khoury means priest actually. From my family side, my dad family side, about 34 priest Orthodox came from my dad descendant. So from the original, from long time, the Christianity was in Gaza. Yeah.
So your mother's Greek, your father is from Gaza, and you are, is it right to say ethnically a Palestinian? Hold on. You're an Arab Palestinian Christian living in the West Bank in Bethlehem. Accurate?
Yeah. Like my wife, for example, she's Palestinian, but her family from Egypt. Like there's kind of like Palestinian people, like from different different group. They are not from Adum, from Isus, from the Adum side. This is totally different with the reality, actually.
Would you say that a majority of the world, and I know we're going to talk about it later about the media and don't watch it, but would you say a majority of the world that is screaming about this war, and yes, we all have perspectives. We stand with Israel, of course. Very sad about the civilians being killed in Gaza, and we'll talk about that as well. It's terrible. It's war. But do you think a majority of the world really doesn't understand the dynamics between Israel and Palestine and the other Muslim and Arab nations around? Do they just know what they think they understand, or is it much more complex?
sometimes I see people spiritualize the situation, spiritualize Israel, spiritualize Gaza, Palestinian people as Satan descendant or God descendant, a situation that they fight each other. It's like became as a veil in their eyes. They couldn't see what is the truth because even when you hear somebody killed, somebody like you will not understand how much is hard to see people last record of situation in Gaza, many families wipe the name of the family wipe from the records, list records, like not just like for myself, but Khoury family. There is no Khoury family anymore. The situation is not easy to say about, but that's the reality that there is many believers in Gaza. There's many people I was having connecting with them during the war and until now. And many people like say like pray for us, Pastor. We need somebody to comfort us, to call us, speak with us, pray with us. We feel ourselves lonely. We feel ourselves lifted in this time, and in many cases you want to justify to those believers why God is doing that, why God is passing these situations to them. They are believers like me, like you, like they trust God, they trust His love, His peace, and one day they see their home destroyed. They have problems coming in their life increased, and people look at them as a bad people or the dark people, that they are not a good people. They are descendant of Adam, she should be wiped out of the area, and this is the conflict now.
So you have multiple thought lines going on because we talked about it this morning. Anti-Semitism is rearing its ugly head throughout the world and showing itself everywhere. But at the same time, there is, I guess I can call it racism against Palestinians, and that spiritualizing of it that many times is incorrect, that they just need to be wiped off the planet because they're Satanist. I can tell you this, Khader, you mean to be honest with you?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to offend you?
It's okay.
Okay. I was born in 1972. My hero's Ronald Reagan. After 9/11, when our towers were attacked, and I'm a minister and know this, but I found myself hating Muslims. I'm going to be honest with you, and to be I couldn't stand them, and it was a blanket statement. After that, I went to Dubai, and I met some Muslims that I was supposed to meet. I went to dinner with them, and my opinion started to change as I started to realize this is a really good person here. And he told me, he goes, man, I'm sorry for what happened in New York and the wars. And he goes, it's not me. It's not my group of Islam. It's the radicals. We're your friends. Da, 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 da. And it was real. A couple of years later, I'm in Pakistan for a couple of weeks, which is 99.8% Muslim. And my opinion changed. Yes, I'm a American, red, white, and blues, stand for freedom, stand for right values. I'm a Christian, all of those things, but my viewpoint has changed. And I think right now the world needs some adjustment. And we're not talking about the war yet, the atrocities, but adjustment on their views, because everybody's throwing blanket statements out that these people are evil, whether it's Palestinians, not just Hamas, Palestinians, the Gazans, people in the West Bank, Jews need to be eliminated. And while this is happening, nations are sending their armies to the Middle East. This is very, very dangerous. In fact, if I, let me do this, Khader, since we're here talking about this. So we know, and this is why we have to be educated. Right now, the Houthis down here in Yemen, they like to keep firing up into southern Israel. And I think Eliot. Okay. We've got U.S. warships right here. We've got U.S. warships here. We've got U.S. warships heading into here. We've got U.S. in Syria, U.S. in Iraq. We've got Russia in Syria. We've got radical groups in Iraq coming out today saying they're going to start attacking American bases relentlessly beginning on Friday if there's not a ceasefire. There's Iraq. We know that Iran, a lot of their evil regime, and it's not a blanket statement about Iranians. There's lots of good people in Iran, good Christians in Iran. The fastest growing church in the world is the underground church in Iran, but the regime is evil. And we see that all of this is happening. Turkey, the big thing, and it's all circled around Israel, and it's like crazy. So for us just to throw out blanket statements that these people are evil, we need to wipe these people out, it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Had a question come in. Let's talk about Gaza, and then I'll give you the question. Okay? Let's go to Gaza. Tell us about Gaza, the reality.
Yes. Actually, Gaza, it's like about 300 kilometers, the whole Gaza, which is half of Bethlehem. And that's the reality.
Gaza is the size of half of Bethlehem, and Bethlehem has
if we say Bethlehem 250,
people.
Yes.
What's the population
and
of
Gaza? 2 million, 2 million and a half. 2 million and a half.
2.5 million people.
Yes.
I saw a reference today, and I can do this. This is the northern side of Gaza. And at the narrow part, it's about 6 kilometers wide. It's very, very narrow, but you can see, I broke this down so that people could see it. This is the northern part. This is where Israel has come in at the top with their ground invasion. So this comes down into Gaza City. Is this the region you were from?
Yes.
This is moving into central Gaza. You can see very populated. One power plant. They struggle with power production. We're just stating facts, not being anything, just stating facts. It then comes down to the southern part of Gaza, Khan Yunis, and then Rafah, which is in the news right now because of the border that they're opening for some evacuations of foreign citizens and wounded. So this Gaza, I've heard it said that this is actually like the Las Vegas Strip, not Las Vegas, the city, just the Strip. And you put 2.5 million people there. Since the war started, have you lost family members in Gaza?
Yes.
How many?
From family members, we can say 12.
You've lost 12 people.
12. Yes. My brother-in-law, his brother, he has 3 kids, and his 2 cousins with their family, with their wife, with children, together.
Okay. I'm going to show something now that I personally struggle with. So I'm going to be point blank honest with you. Like, I support Israel, and I will stand with Israel. Since the Ukrainian war's been going on, I've been on the front. I've seen buildings blown up. I've seen many people that have lost their lives, and I'm going back. I've seen it all. So when I begin to think about Gaza, though, with the human factor, it makes me wonder if we're not setting ourselves up for something greater, because it doesn't look like Israel is going to slow down what they're doing. And I think what would be helpful for people to understand is how dense the population is. And there's people everywhere. And for example, this is not propaganda. This is just reality. I support Israel. But here today, I just want you to see, folks that are watching, how many people are just standing around this impact. There's nothing bad here other than the impact of the refugee camp that was hit. It's people on top of people. That's exactly right. Look at this.
كما تشاهدون مربع كامل تم إبادته في منطقة معسكر جباليا. الحفرات كثيرة في هذا المكان. في كل مكان حفرة. في كل مكان حفرة في هذا المكان. في كل مكان حزام ناري عنيف ضرب هذه المنطقة. حزام ناري عنيف ضرب هذه المنطقة.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Did you understand her?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, she was just describing the scene?
Yeah, describing the situation and how much very big impact happened in the area after the bomb, the whole area bombed by the rockets.
Okay, now, some questions coming in. I want to ask you some questions practically about that, because we agree on this. People are on top of people. So I have a question first, and then there's some other questions in the chat, okay? Just for that, and then we'll move on to a couple of other things. Why haven't those people left and went south? Is why? That's question one.
Yeah, actually, it's a big population number. Like, it's not easy to them to move. If you say to them move, how they could do it, where they will go, and in any area in Gaza, there is no safe. Even in the same day that the declaration go to the south, many families went to the south. While going there, they bombed and 70 killed in at 1 minute. And people start to be afraid. We go to north or go to south. They are confused. Some people went to the south, and they saw a lot of bombs there. So they returned back to their homes. They said, oh, "What we can do? Like, we come back to our homes." So, if you want to do something, give me alternative way to go. Like, there's no safe, no here, neither here. Yeah.
Here's the question. There's quite a few questions in there. So why is, or in your opinion, why is Egypt not allowing women and children out? Is there a reason?
Egypt think that Palestinian will go take Sinai, the desert. And even if you go to Google, you will not see Sinai anymore.
The Sinai Peninsula.
Yeah, and that's make them feel okay. You want to finish the Palestinians, so it's good to not open the border.
Okay,
and
so
even the
no.
Egyptians support that idea. Yeah,
So you're saying, I mean, this is fantastic. So one of the reasons, and I'll do this for us, to Cam Webb right here. You're saying that one of the reasons that Egypt doesn't want to open this border is they don't want the Palestinians, or the Gazans rather, coming down into the Sinai Peninsula and setting up refugee camps or a
yeah,
city. Wow.
yeah.
It is I mean, look at the border on this, Khader.
Mm.
It's just so tiny. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If there's no war and you have one road from the top of Gaza, the north, to the south, to Rafah, and you can just drive, no traffic, no stoplights, how long does it take you to drive from border to border?
Less than 1 hour.
It's nowhere.
Yeah.
There was another question came in from Great Britain. When I showed that video and we saw all the people there standing around that impact crater, the ladies talking on the video. Wrong camera. Why did we see only men?
Usually the women are not allowed to be seen in the videos. They sometimes gather them a lot, gather them in one area and let them in other area. For example, now many Palestinians sit in the schools, UN schools. So sometimes they put the whole women there and they put the men in another way. So the man separated from his wife since the war. Yeah.
Since the war started.
Yeah.
They're trying to protect them, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. People in here, talking about they have nowhere to go. Ricochet, you're right. Arabic, culturally, women are at home. We're seeing that. We talked about Egypt, Gaza, most densely populated in the world. I'm just trying to make sure I get all the people's comments and opinions. CZ in here, my opinion, countries should bring ships to house women and children and get them out of there. I'm just going to say this. I was talking to Pastor Kent today, and here's my concern. As hard as I support Ukraine, and I will, it's a phrase I use in Ukrainian, do peremoga, until victory, which I believe in and fight for. You never give up fighting, but sometimes senseless bombings and bombings that affect non-military targets begin to hurt a nation. For example, I have many friends in Russia, but the fact is Russia has bombed hospitals and schools and maternity hospitals and drama theaters with children in it, and it's marked on the road, children are here, and they destroyed it. And it hurt, of course, their reputation. I'm concerned that when Israel is doing this, is it going to hurt world opinion?
Yeah. Actually, you mentioned Russia, and last record of Russia a war that about 500,000 people killed from Ukraine, and the people killed from civilian about 9,000, more, like not more than 10,000 people. And now you have this number in Gaza, while Ukraine problem and war with a civilian, it takes long time, years until now, but you are speaking about days, and you have this number of civilians that killed, and this is what makes things situation harder to people, and it is not getting solution. Actually, people get we see genocide, we see people killed, we see people pay the price. We have a lot of civilian. Actually, if we could account Hamas and all those groups, like don't give them more than 100,000 people, and about 30 to 40,000 they are in the tunnels, and like they are doing the war.
Okay,
So
let me
you are saying
interpret
that, yeah,
2.5 million Palestinians in Gaza. In Gaza, 100,000 Hamas soldiers and 30 to 40,000 Hamas soldiers are in the tunnels fighting.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
accurate.
Yes, yes. And you have all people civilian after that. You have people like they start to see their homes destroyed. They start to see situation hard. But I want to mention something, Greg, actually.
Please do.
Sometimes we give a spiritual title that didn't give us the right scene of the situation. For example, if we are speaking about like Israel, Israel in the Old Testament, it's the like called vineyard. The Lord said in Isaiah, "What I should do to my vineyard, I didn't do." And we see in the New Testament, Jesus said himself that he's the real vineyard. He pointed himself as a real vineyard. In Roman, for example, 11:17, saying that we are a Gentile grafted in the original tree, and we take the same root, the same fatness. In Ephesians 3:6 said that we are, there is a secret, the Lord was unfolded it in the New Testament, that the Gentile, they are a partaker of Israel. They are a partaker of the same promises, the same fatness. And in Colossians, also speaking the same word and saying that Gentiles for Christ. So if you look at promises, God's promises for Israel, it is the same God's promises for me and you. And as the Lord give that promise to Israel, it gives me as a believer in Jesus Christ, because I'm grafted in the same tree. And in the same time, we need to understand we are not helping God to fulfill His promises. He has all the power to do His promises. When the disciples asked the Lord, when you will return back the leadership for Israel, the Lord said to them, you don't need to have the time that the Lord has in His power, in His authority, but you shall go and you shall be witness to me in the whole land. So God has His power to fulfill His promise with me and without me. It's not, you are not helping God to do what God wants to do. So if you like, and that's what sometimes we need to understand what God look at the situation, because it helps us to know how to be like in the time we are in. Like I'm now in Bethlehem in situation. I'm as a believer, as a Palestinian believer, I'm in the conflict. Like the conflict is, I see people look at the situation as a spiritual war. So they don't care about suffering, children killed, women killed. Okay, this is God is doing that. And the same time, I have a message in the church that I'm trying to be the bridge builder with the Israeli ministry in the church with Israeli people, that I release like forgiveness and love and trying to be bridge builder between both. And many times I was invited to speak in Israeli conferences, and I was the main topic was grace, how to be together regardless everything, because grace is taking us in unity rather than law system take us in the division. So there is time in 2014 I was in Congressum. It's a big building for the government, and I was invited to speak for the youth, for 1,200 from Arab and Jewish youth, and the topic was about the grace. While Gaza was coming launch rockets out of Gaza over Haifa and over the area, I was the same time I was preaching God, love, and grace, this is take you in the conflict, and the situation is in this area. Actually, I would like to speak about two visions that changed my heart and helped me to see the situation in God's heart rather than look at the situation in people or in news heart.
All right. So
actually,
let me
the situation,
and then tell people what happened.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are watching right now that maybe you're not Christian or Bible or anything, you just look at it politically, you look at it militarily, you look at it, as whatever nation you're from, and that's great. But if you hear this man tonight, he's laying out real deep perspective. And here's what I hear him saying. The world, national governments, churches, mosques, Christians, Muslims, Jews, they're a little confused on how God looks at this world. And everybody's looking at it through their practical eyes with a little bit wrong perspective. And when it comes to this war in Israel and Gaza, I think he's spot on because the world is completely confused. And we're going to go to the things you want to share now. But today in the United States, the Muslim groups, of which they're growing and large, and we have Muslim, we won't talk about that now, later, but they basically came out today and said in solidarity that if Joe Biden does not have a ceasefire by Friday at 11 o'clock, that he will get no Muslim votes, 0 in the next election. So it's a short-sighted, misguided, misunderstood view of the war. So that's interjecting, trying to help people understand. All right, now the vision that changed your perspective. Here you go. Tell us about it.
Yeah, as you said, Greg, about how your heart was toward Muslim in the time of 9/11 situation. I have this in my heart deeply. I was not recognizing it in the time when they kidnapped and killed some of my disciple. When you kidnapped and killed. When I went to West Bank, I want to serve just the Christian. I don't want to serve anybody Muslim. I felt myself like Jonah, like he want to be with his side of people. He don't want to preach gospel to the other side because he don't want God to forgive them, and I felt it deeply when I was invited in meeting in conference in Malta about serving how to serve with MPPs and how to serve with Muslim background. I was having no feeling to this meeting. I was feeling like, why I'm here? I'm not interested to. But in the prayer time, I was in room with some leaders, and we was having a prayer time. And while the praying time, the Lord started to give me vision. And when He started to give me the vision, and actually this vision completely changed my heart, it changed everything. And this is justify why I'm doing what I'm doing, actually. what happened in that time, the Lord showed me the name of Syria, and this is long time ago. And when the name came and the name shaken, the Lord started to show me the whole Islamic groups, that very hard people, that those who holding guns, or those who are so hard people, that I'm trying to avoid to talk or to speak or to see. When the Lord showed me that, He spoke to my heart. Do you think I will be happy if they are killed? I will be happy more if they return back to me. And then the Lord said to me, I will release my heart to you, and to feel how I feel toward those nations. And I start crying as a baby. And I'm not able to hold myself, crying, and the Lord was healing my soul, my spirit. And the Lord said to me in that time, if you are looking for justice for your friend, what's happening with him? The justice came on the cross. What is given now is grace. What I will do in the last days, I will judge people not according to how much sin they did, but how much grace they refused. And this, like, melt my heart, and I was crying, and the Lord, like healed my soul, healed my spirit. And since that time, I start to be open with all. I want to love all people. I don't need to limit God's love to the people, because this is His heart to the people. We are not supposed as a church to judge and to be with part against another part. We are okay. We are against any violence. We are against any bad things, but we need to keep the love and forgiveness, and to keep the hope to the community and to the people, and to pray that may the Lord change life. Paul, he was ISIS. Paul, he was taking the Christians from side to side and take them to the prison, torch them, and the Lord did change his heart. And why don't you think that the Lord's heart is to be like this? And this is what helped me to see things differently. To be, if the Lord is giving the grace now for the nation, even the bad people, how I should limit God's hand to the people? Why I should not get to the Lord and to be part with His hand, and to be hand of grace to the whole nation, regardless they are good or bad, because this is what God is doing. And they will be judged not according to how much sin they did. They are judged how much grace they have. Sometimes the Lord gives the evil people time to repent, and this is grace that He gives them time, and that's what we should do.
I agree with you completely. It's a beautiful statement. In fact, Kerry Dyer out of Nevada just said, I like his statement, judged by how much grace we refused. It's a beautiful statement. But you understand, you have a very seasoned view as being a Palestinian from Gaza, Christian, working with Jews and Arab, all of it, and you're right in the middle of it, and then you've had this vision, and you've got this understanding, and it's, I agree with you completely. But most of the world doesn't have that view. You know, it's a maturity there that you have. They view very simply, and that's what we've tried to help, just if people will think a little bit. You know I saw comments in here, Ricochet, he's my buddy. He pushes me right to the edge, and I like it. You know, he goes, well, I'm not sure about the spiritual thing, but it looks like Arabs and Jews, and that's okay. But, you know, you're listening, and we need to listen to perspective. We're talking, you know, to a man in Bethlehem that's a Palestinian Christian from Gaza who works in Israel. I mean, I couldn't give you a better person, and he's a wonderful, wonderful man. I just, you know, Christians, brother, And people around the world look at it and go, okay, Hamas is evil. They're just a proxy of Iran, and they need to be wiped out. And basically, that's what the prime minister of Israel said, that they're going to be gone. But your perspective of humanity and people, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But at the same time,
this is related
it's
to
a challenge.
Yeah,
Will you agree it's a challenge?
I understand.
Okay.
I understand. But sometimes we as a church, to not lose to be light and to witness to the both sides, we don't need to go in that side against another side. We are really against any violence, any killing civilian, any situation hard. But we need to be witness to both sides, to be blessing to this side and to be blessing to this side. And as a church, we need to release God love and to think how to help, how to love, how to be with the people that in the hardship and they are losing the like hope, and how to release that hope, because this is the rule of the church, not the rule of the church to protect Israel, the rule of the church to spread God's kingdom and to speak about what the Lord is doing, because the Lord has his authority to do whatever he wants to do in his timing, and nobody will stop him to do whatever he wants to do.
Beautiful
and that's
statement.
that's what we need to think about as a church, why the Lord is putting us in the hard situation, how to be part of God's love in this hardcore circumstances. In the time that many people evacuated from the settlement, I have friends, pastors from Israeli side, and I send them message that taking care of them, asking them about their families. And I was so I'm so happy that they were saved, and they said to me, "We will still love each other. We still in forgiveness each other, because what's our part is bigger than what is happening." So, you see, there is people mature too in Israel that they don't take the area that hatred and spiritualize Gaza people. Even they are like the most people I have friend of they are near Sderot, they are near that settlement that every day they have a problem with Hamas, but still they have a heart to serve their community and to be blessing to the nation as a church.
Does Hamas terrorize Palestinians in Gaza?
Actually, we have
listen, explain this to me.
Yeah.
Explain this to me and everybody else. As we understand it, Hamas is the elected government for Gaza. Now, whether the election was cheated or whatever, I don't know, but they're the elected officials. Okay? So it makes the world look at the situation and go, okay, but you elected Hamas. So it's hard for us to understand. You're really helping.
Yeah, in the time that Fatah was ruling Gaza, Palestinian Authority, the situation that people think if they elected Hamas, they will be in better situation, and that's what this is. They discover what is good or not after this election, because a big division happened and big separation happened between both Palestinian side in West Bank and in Gaza, and Gaza became isolated from the world actually, and also Palestinian side. So, what is happening? That people think that if we elect Hamas, we will be in better situation. That's what happened. And as any nation, they think that this is better than this, and then they discover maybe we are not taking the right decision.
I'm gonna just make a couple statements to you, and then we're going to talk about the practical work you're doing, and we'll get you out of here. It's pushing 4:00 in the morning for you.
No problem. Okay.
You made some statements there a couple of minutes ago that takes me right back to the war in Ukraine. And you made the statements that you were talking to some Israelis and you're communicating back and forth, and hey, we love each other regardless of what's going on. We're friends. We're together. And I'm very thankful for that. Don't misunderstand me. That's how it also started when the war broke out between Russia and Ukraine. And these family members and people groups that have Russian family and ancestors, or Ukrainian family and ancestors, that's what they were saying in day 25 of the war. And hey, we're still family, we're still friends. But as the war went on in Ukraine, for the most part, and I'm even talking about churches and Christians and synagogues, whatever, they're enemies. They're enemies. They do not communicate. They've broken off. Okay, your nation's invading us. We're done. I hope that doesn't happen with you guys. I'm talking good, mature people. We're very early in this. And let me ask you this. People in here are asking, how do you think this ends? When do you think this ends? Just your opinion. People are asking, and what happens with Gaza when this is over?
Yeah.
Just your opinion.
Actually, what I want to say that we are in the world, and the Lord said to us that you will, we will not be in a good situation. You will hear about war and things will be happen. I spoke to you before in John 16. I spoke to you in order to have in me peace. In the world you will have hardship, but trust, I defeated the world. We are in the world, and in the world, we don't know what is going on, what is how the war will continue, how much it takes time. Maybe it will take 1 month, it will take 2 years, it will take anything. Situation is like, for example, when you spoke about when you put the plan for the map, for example, and speaking about the troops from here, the ships coming from here, you can see the situation is bigger than Gaza and bigger than Israel and bigger than everything else. we know that in the last time enemy will prepare himself in order to rule and to put himself in the temple of God. And we know all of these things. And we need to not to be hurry these things to be happen, because it will be happen. The Bible says that it will be happen. Mm-hmm. But what we should do in the time enemy working, that's what we need to think about. We need to think as a church. We don't need to be just audience of the war and look who's with them, who's with that, and clap for this and clap for the other. We are not allowed. We are not supposed to do that. We are supposed to do our work in that time. We need to do what God's kingdom invited us to do, even in the hardship time. So we don't know if the war will continue, how it takes time, but we need to know that we have work to do, and we shouldn't be frozen because this situation happened, and just being as an audience of when the war finished. We
Excellent,
need to
brother.
Keep going.
You have one more question here from Bishop Doug, does Khader think the people of Gaza will one day reject Hamas?
Actually, I'm overwhelmed with God vision over this area. Actually, for example, there is situation. One of the vision I have before I left Gaza, I was in the heaven. I saw myself in the heaven and look at the planet, and I get zoom in, zoom in. I thought first I'm in Iraq, then I discovered I'm in Gaza. And when I saw Gaza, I was in that time I was thinking about guns and killing people and the Christians, how they persecuted, and all of these things. When I was in the vision, I was astonished because people was having flags and welcome Holy Spirit and people happy and somebody preaching the gospel and people so happy, Christian and Muslim together, even yeah, like from from Islamic side and all of these hard people that I was thinking. So I was going from side to side. I'm not accepting that to be happen in the vision, and I'm trying to look at the faces of Christians, faces of Muslim radical people, and they were so happy, and they are getting Jesus, getting in their life. They are so happy. I'm not able to trust that. I'm not able to accept that actually in the vision until I became tired of going around people and to see what the reaction of the people. And I stopped going around. I stood in my place and raised up my hand. I said, Lord, I believe. I was closing my eyes. When I opened my eyes, I looked at myself sitting, not laying in my bed, sitting in my bed, and my hand like this. And the presence of God was overwhelming me. Like the presence of God was filling my heart, filling the place, the whole room. So I understood that the Lord able to do beauty out of ashes, and He could change everything in one day. And we don't know when, but we need to trust and we need to see him in that vision that the Lord is able to change the situation of Gaza to be worshiping rather like to be suffering God
Khader,
instead of suffering from situation. Yeah.
my Gazan-born Palestinian West Bank Bethlehem living Christian pastor, partnering with Israel, you're a legend, brother, and just you've really been inspiring. You've been encouraging for people. All the comments are coming in. Thank you. So I say thank you. Now I know some of the work you're doing, and I want to put this information out there for you. This is the website. I'll also post it. The give.iphc.org project, Israel Relief. You're using these funds to rescue people.
Yeah.
How many Christians
Actually,
how many Christians are in Gaza?
we have in Gaza we have about 1,100 people, Christian
1,000
background.
Christians in Gaza. Wow.
Yeah,
Out of
and most of them they
2.5 million.
had their homes destroyed now.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we're helping. I mean, we help everybody, but we're trying to help these people get to some homes and get moved and transported. So, guys, this is the mailing address if you would be interested in giving. And additionally, there's the website as well. You can always go back and catch it on the stream. You've got you got people just saying thank you, all in the chat. And Khader, you rock, dude. Thank you.
thank you.
Let's plan to do this again in a couple of months.
Amen.
Awesome.
I'm ready.
Well, you've got a lot of appreciation coming in, and incredible interview. I think A+, buddy. Appreciate you. And you hang on in here after I hop off, and I'll tell you goodbye. To all of you that are here, thank you. We appreciate all of your kindness, all of your thankfulness. You know, I knew this was going to go a little different way than maybe you thought, but this is the way it needed to go, because we need to be expanded and to be open to reality that's beyond just what we see. In fact, Khader said today somewhere, stay off the media. So if you want the truth, stay off mainstream media. And that's what we do here, trying to get it out. So all we can say is thank you. Thank you for supporting this. And I'll post the links again. And of course, you can take the video and pause it and get it. We appreciate all of you. Khader, everybody saying thank you. You guys be blessed. We'll see you on Friday night, 9 o'clock Eastern. Full update on Ukraine, Israel, everything. I will do what I always do, guys. We'll go back to the air raid alert map in Ukraine right now, and we're clear and beautiful. So rest well wherever you're at in the world, and we'll see you in 48 hours, if not before. Big thanks to Khader Khoury there in Bethlehem, up in the middle of the night, talking with us, giving us some good stuff. Be blessed. You guys have a good night.
Yeah.